Hey guys, sorry about that. I got cut off a little bit there, so this second screencast will be very short. So where we kind of left off were settlement patterns, kind of the differences between European and Native American settlement patterns. So again, Manhattan kind of gives you a good context as to how the Native Americans viewed using the land versus how a European would view using the land. So when the Europeans took a look at a place like Manhattan and the way that it was when the Dutch first arrived, they would kind of say, well, the natives are wasting the land. Look at all those natural resources, and they're not even using it. They're not even farming it. They're not even, getting the most potential out of the land. That's not how the Native Americans would look at it. Because again, it goes back to their idea of how to use the land and their religious beliefs. They're going to kind of fit into it and say, well, we are using the land. What the Native Americans would basically do is, a lot of them, is they would kind of have semi-permanent settlements in different places. They would have areas where they would do farming. They would leave most of the land as far as the forest, kind of in the native way that it was, and they would have different areas where they would do farming and different village sites throughout their territory, and they would move at different times of the year and live in different places. So it's kind of an idea. It's not quite nomadic. It's definitely not a nomadic lifestyle. It's kind of like in between the European farming style of permanent settlement, completely permanent settlements, and nomadic. And so they kind of have like these semi-permanent living arrangements. And so the Europeans kind of take a look at this, and they kind of feel like, well, the natives are completely wasting it, and they're not using the land to its full potential. And the only way to kind of use it to its full potential is to set up farming and to really extract the resources from the land. Natives will kind of look at the European style and say, well, they're destroying the land, they're killing it, they're taking too much. They're taking more than one person can use. What's the whole point of that? And a lot of the Europeans, what they're doing here is driven by economics. Take the Dutch, for example. They want these beaver skins because it's very prized back in Europe, and so they'll hunt them to exhaustion when the natives would never really take that approach to it. All right, the last area that we're going to take a look at is technology and military. And so again, very different styles as far as military is concerned and the level of technology that they have. So we all kind of know that the Europeans are coming in with firearms and cannons and guns basically. And the natives are still kind of using bow and arrow and kind of what we would consider more primitive forms of weaponry. But there's also a difference as far as military style is concerned. The Europeans are very used to kind of larger scale warfare, and a little bit more used to kind of conquering territory and fighting in that sense, because it's happened many times in Euro-Asian history. With these different empires that sweep across and conquer these vast territories. The Native Americans, they do have those types of empires, but on a smaller scale. Say, for example, the Iroquois up in upstate New York are a very warlike Native American group of people, and they do conquer basically all of upstate New York and Canada. So they do fight these wars, but for the most part, they're a little bit more on a smaller scale and more of a tribal level than the Europeans are more used to fighting as far as these bigger warfare, these bigger style wars. So that's really going to kind of sum up this major clash of cultures that's going to take place between the Europeans and the natives, and it really is just two totally different lifestyles, and that's why they have so many misunderstandings, conflict, and just problems associated between the native way of life and the European way of life, not just the colonial period, but all the way through American history. It's just not really, they have a really hard time meshing together. Alright guys, so like I said in the beginning, this is the last screencast of Chapter 1. We have about a week left until school starts, so I hope you enjoy your last week, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Monday.